Right, welcome back. Now in this video, I'll be going through the Eunice Primary School Science Workout 9. This is a set of revision worksheet meant to revise previously taught topics. Now, first question, the diagram below shows part of a flower. Now Tom removed two parts from the flower and observed the flower did not turn into a fruit after pollination. So which part did he remove? Now for pollination to happen, the stigma must be present. So A must have been removed. Now the other part is for a fruit to be formed, there must be an ovary. Now none of the parts here are linked to the ovary. This is pointing to the answer, this is pointing to the petal, and this is pointing to a part that is not taught, not covered in your syllabus. So the answer for this is the one with A. And there's only one option with A here, so answer is clearly number 1. Next one, question 2. Now in question 2, you will see that you are given a few characteristics of animal X. It lays eggs, has scales, has lungs, and can swim in water. So which group of animals does animal X most likely belong to? Now, an easy way to do this is to think in terms of a table like this. Now of course you need not draw the table. I drew the table to make the teaching easier for you to understand. For example, if you talk about fish, and let's look across laying eggs. Which group of living things lay eggs? Well, fish lay eggs, reptile lay eggs, amphibians lay eggs. Which group of animals are covered with scales? Fish are covered with scales, and that's it. Next one, which animal breathes through their lungs? Reptiles and mammals breathe through their lungs. Amphibians breathe through their lungs when they're on land, and through their moist skin when they are in water. So I'm not sure, should I put it here, a tick for amphibians? Can swim in water? Fish definitely can. Some mammals can, some mammals can't. Some reptiles can swim, some reptiles cannot swim. Imagine a house lizard swimming in water, I think it'll probably drown. Or amphibians definitely can swim. So which group of animals does animal X likely belong to? Now, so we look at distinguishing features. Sorry, reptiles have dry scaly skin. I missed out this part. Reptiles have dry scaly skin. So this is the only group of animals that have all these three parts here. Now, swimming or not swimming is not a distinguishing feature of a group of animal, with the exception of fish, perhaps. So the answer for this is number 2, reptiles. Alright, because these are 3 distinguishing features, and an animal with these 3, alright, you can say that it cannot be a mammal, it cannot be an amphibian because it has no scales, cannot be a mammal because it doesn't lay eggs, it cannot be a fish because it doesn't breathe through its lungs. It must be a reptile. Okay, let's go on to the next question. This is a very typical seed dispersal question. Now you will notice that there is a key, sometimes they call it a legend, and this is important. Why is it important? It helps you identify the different parts of the map. The diamond shaped thing is plant A, and notice that they are all found beside or alongside the river bank. So very clearly plant A is dispersed, the seed of young of plant A is dispersed by water. So plant A, water, water. Next one for plant B. Now plant B, I see wind direction here. So plant B, and we know the P stands for the position of the parent plant. So this is where the very first plant A is found. And this is the first plant B, the original parent plant B. And you will notice that the seeds of plant B, alright, are dispersed. Now if it's going to be by explosive action, it'll be around P. If it's by wind, it'll be in this direction. Now if we look at B, alright, this one for B, yeah? Now it's either animal or explosive. If it's by animal, then it must be in a haphazard manner where the dispersal is all over the place in no fixed pattern? Well, it's not the case. If it's by animal, I should see the young plant of bee all over the place. So this is the one for B. So I would think it's not by animal. Explosive action is usually like this, around the parent plant. In this case, I can understand why it could be more towards the south part here, the bottom part, because wind could have blown some of the seeds when it split off from the adult fruit. Alright, so I think this is the best answer is still explosive action. So answer is 4. Next one. Now study these two groups of organisms. Now clearly you can give the heading for yourself. These will be simply animals and these would be plants. Now think in terms of a table again, like this. So if you think in terms of a table, you can see which one can grow. Well, both animals and plants can grow. Both animals and plants can reproduce. Now this is very distinctive. The only organisms that you know that can make its own food would be plants. Both are living things, therefore both will respond to changes in their environment. Therefore, what are characteristics that are found in both groups? Alright, so A, B, and D are found in both groups, whereas characteristic C is only found in group Y. So A, B, D, that will be answer number 3. Next, let's go on to question 5. Now this is a flow chart diagram, so you're going to follow the flow chart when you are trying to solve this question. So which of the following organisms can be represented by A, B, C, and D? Now for this, we'll try to be lazy, as in we don't have to solve every single one. So let's be smart. Now 4 stage, let's start from here. Must always go to the starting point. Has 4 stage? Yes, no. So anything below the yes are of 4 stage life cycle. So check A first. So A is an organism that has a 4 stage life cycle and the eggs are laid in water. So if you look at A, 4 stage, all these are 4 stage life cycle animal, but only the mosquitoes are adults lay the eggs in water. Therefore, it cannot be beetle. So it's either 2 or 4. Next, I'll be checking this one. Why this? Because I'm going to do a 3 stage life cycle now. If it's not 4 stage, it must be 3 stage. I look for whether the eggs are laid in water or not. So D is a 3 stage life cycle animal where the eggs are laid on land. Let's check for number 2. D here, this is 3 stage. Number 4, this is butterfly, is 4 stage. Remember, this organism D belongs to the part of the flow chart where it says all these animals here, B, D and C, these two are animals that have a 3 stage life cycle each. Okay, this 4 stage is wrong, therefore it's D. When I say it's lazy, I mean now we find out the necessary information to get the answer. Since I already have the answer by looking at A and D, I don't have to look at B and C anymore. So answer is 2. Next, let's go on to the last MCQ question, then we go on to an open-ended question. Now the diagram here shows a plant cell. Very important, you got to label it. So P, the outer layer here, will be the cell wall. Next one, this part inside the jelly-like substance is the cytoplasm. Now this big round thing here is the nucleus. And these smaller round things around are the chloroplasts. Now, if you look at this, we are asked which are the parts that are only found in a plant cell. Now, very clearly, I think those who are familiar, you should know. However, I'm just doing this for revision purposes, so I will do a little bit more work. Talk about plant cell and animal cell. Okay, I made a table here for you to see. So, plant cell will have cell wall. Animal cell have no cell wall. Both plant and animal cell have cytoplasm. Both plant and animal cell have a nucleus each. Only plant cell have chloroplast. So the only parts that are found in the plant cell would only be P, cell wall, and S, chloroplast. So P and S is number 2. Answer is 2. Let's go on to the last question of this video. Mei Ling wanted to find out if the amount of acid affects the germination of seeds. So this is the aim, to find out the amount of acid. This is the changed variable here. Whether the amount of acid will affect the germination of seeds. So the germination of seeds, this is what you're going to observe. Going to count this. Okay, going to observe this. So she used the setup below. Now notice that both have seeds, same number of seeds, both are in the same size plate, both are on the seeds are placed on cotton wool. This you have 20 ml of vinegar. And what is vinegar? Vinegar is a liquid that contains acid. So this has 20 ml of acid. Whereas here, the amount of acid is less, 10 ml. So in other words, in setup B, you have less acid. A, you have more acid. And then Mei Ling observed them for 15 days to count the number of seeds germinated. So A, the one with more acid, has 1 seed germinated after 15 days. B, the one with 10 ml of acid, of vinegar, actually has 5 seeds germinated. Now notice I ignore the part about the water. Why? Because the purpose of the water here is to dilute or to make it less acidic. So that's why the total amount of liquid here is 20 for A. Total for B is also 20. That's the purpose of adding the water here. So I can see that with less acid, there's more germination. With more acid, there is less germination. So this is a relationship. So from the results above, what is the relationship between the number of seeds germinated and the amount of acid? The answer is very simple. The lesser the amount of acid, the greater the amount of seeds germinated. I repeat, the lesser the amount of acid, the greater the number of seeds germinated. Of course, you can write it differently. You can write the greater the amount of acid, the fewer the number of seeds germinated. You can write the same relationship in a different manner. That's fine. Now let's go on to part B. State the conditions that are necessary for germination to take place. This is a recall question. There are just 3 conditions. There must be a presence of warm, or some of you may learn the term right temperature. There must be a presence of oxygen. And of course, there must also be the presence of water. You must have all 3 to get the full marks. Giving just 1 or 2 will give you no marks for this. Okay, all the conditions must be present. For example, what is your school uniform? It's not enough to just wear your shirt and you wear your home pajama pants and wear your slippers. You cannot argue you're wearing a school uniform just because you're wearing a shirt. You must wear all parts of it to make a complete set of uniform. Similarly, to have germination take place, all these conditions must be present. Lastly, talk about control setup. Suggest a control setup to show the seed germination is affected by the amount of acid. The control setup is a setup that is almost identical to the existing setup with only one significant difference, which is this control setup has no acid. Why? There is the change variable is absent. So if I were to draw a picture of it, also I have a plate of similar size. I have some cotton wool. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 seeds placed roughly the same distance apart, right? And I will also have just water. So my setup C, for example, will just have water, 20 ml, and no acid. Why? Because the aim is to find out if the amount of acid affects the germination. So for the control setup, I will have totally no acid. Okay, that is the purpose of a control setup. So how should I phrase my answer for this? Very simply, you can write it this way. Okay, a setup C that is exactly the same as setup A. So by saying this, it is exactly the same as setup A, you are already saying, oh, the plate is the same, the cotton wool is the same, the number of seeds is the same, the type of seeds is the same. So you don't have to write so many words. I think you write the first sentence here, a setup C that is exactly the same as setup A. But you must state the difference. So what's the difference? Except replace the 20 ml of vinegar with 20 ml of water, just like I have described here. Right? Replace the acid with the equal amount of liquid, which is water. And that is how you do this worksheet. All the best to your revision. Take care.